kind of want to go back to what you were talking about a little bit when you were talking about cyberbullying, because
Yeah.
right now we are in the world where everyone is working from home. What are some ways that people can identify harassment by working from home? Outside of getting the late phone calls and text messages from their manager, what is another way that someone can identify harassment virtually?
Far as online bullying, it's not too much different than being face to face.
Right.
While we're in group chats and you're telling a joke about a sexual joke or a joke about women or a joke about blacks, and when I say that, it sounds so ridiculous, but I've seen them and I know other people have had them. We
Right.
brought this topic up because so many people at the beginning of this year and last year coming out, we're still in COVID and we're still in lockdown for the most part, but people are saying my company has gotten worse. I don't know if you've gotten those emails, but I've gotten those IMs on IG. What can I do? And that's why we came up with this topic. And a lot of these people are working from home.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is online bullying, the calls late, the calls too early, but it's also just the jokes, the things that they might say amongst each other. Now they're putting in text messages or inappropriate things like commenting on what people are wearing when you're on these Zoom calls.
Exactly. And also sharing like videos that can be, you know,
Saw that. I know
hurtful.
what you're talking about. I saw that. That college professor. Yes, I saw that.
Yes.
So
And especially at that level, you know, that you are within a company, you have to be very mindful of the type of motivational videos you want to share with your team, because it can come off offensive to, you know, some of your employees. So I would say be mindful of that as well. And then I think also another form could be, um, you know, some companies use Slack, some people use Facebook Workplace, whatever you might use to communicate or chat with your team members.
yeah,
One thing could come off offensive is the emojis that people use. It can be like a flirtatious um, emoji that you're using to someone who you've already may have expressed interest in. It can be repetitive. It can be, like you mentioned, the words that you decide to use, making a comment on the Zoom meetings about what someone may be wearing or what their hair looks like today. Um, it sometimes those stuff can come off offensive, and it can be repetitive, especially if someone mentions something, which can then lead to harassment because now they feel that you took things too personal when they may have just been playing playing around.
have you ever made somebody uncomfortable or seen somebody uncomfortable and not realize that they were uncomfortable? That's you cannot sit there and say I told this joke or I said this comment and they were okay with it. You know when people are uncomfortable.
You can see it in their face change, or sometimes the videos go off.
Or the way that their whole demeanor.
Changes.
Yeah, so you know when somebody's uncomfortable. So let's not act like we don't know when somebody's uncomfortable. You just don't care. And unfortunately, I think that's what we're talking about. There are people who just don't care.
Because they can get another job, or they really don't care about that job.
They're getting ready to retire.
Getting ready to retire. It's
Yes.
so many different reasons. And that's why I always tell people just be mindful, especially if you don't know that person, if they're a new person to the team, or if you're just getting to know someone who's been there for a year and getting to know their personality and sense of humor. And sometimes they may have been doing that for the last 3 years that they've been working there. And now as a new person that's coming on board, and you're saying things that could be offensive. So like you mentioned, those policies and procedures have to be in place at the company, along with, I will recommend companies to do yearly surveys with their employees on how they feel,
Mm-hmm.
along with the yearly trainings as well that they have, just so that we know what harassment is and what you may do that can be seen as harassment in the workplace.
But follow up. That's the other, it's the follow up. You can have as many procedures in place. If you do not follow those steps, they don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to know that. And it's going to show when you have 60, 70, 80% turnover. People don't want to work for you. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, we will not say the name of the company where we met. But me and you one day, you said, Will, go look at what they're saying about this company. People were canceling interviews with us when they did research on this particular company. Companies have to realize in the digital age, there is nobody who's not going to say however they feel. Now,
Right.
1 or 2, people will let go. Hundreds, people are not going to let that go. Everything that's said about you is negative. People are not going to let that go. People are not going to want to do business with you. People are definitely not going to work with you.
Or create those partnerships either. They can lose. They lost a few partnerships with some companies based
Yeah.
off of those reviews. So a lot of people feel that reviews are not important. It's very important because trust me, when they do these partnerships with larger organizations, they're looking at those reviews and like, do we really want to go into a partnership with a company like this? Especially when you have over 5,000 people leaving the same negative review. So something has to be true there. So that was a good point to mention.